Let's make Tom a moderator. Thanks all for being here today. We're going to talk about resistance to change. We're going to talk about Tilly Norwood. Tom, if you will allow me, at some point I will give you my take on the WNBA, which is resistant to change as well. So we can just, how at Christmas time we hand out lumps of coal. We can hand out lumps of coal to people that are resistant to change, or go from that avenue. So how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I wonder what would be a good alternative, right? Because like you said, at Christmas time we give out lumps of coal, right? Maybe a little bit of the inspiration behind Tom's thumbs was your idea for lumps of coal. What's a good thing that we can sort of hand out, so to speak?
This is good. Okay, so I thought you were going to go with like a reward for the people, but you're saying bad for the people.
Well, I'm not rewarding resistance to change.
Yeah,
Why
hold
I'm
on. I
not
got
rewarding that. That's something to think about. Feel free to let us know, chime in, give us some thoughts. But yeah, we're talking about resistant to change today. So I'm curious to hear, Dom. I shot you this idea for a topic. You came right back with dropping the name Tilly Norwood. So just curious to hear what your thoughts are, since I often give you grief about your challenges with technology. Curious to hear what your thoughts are on this idea of resistance to change.
okay. So, one, this Tilly Norwood idea. Uh, I'm not sure I know enough about it yet. I don't like the idea of humans being replaced, jobs being lost by AI characters and such. I've stood in and I know the last strike with SAG and all that was over, that kind of thing. I've been paid to be an extra and background and stuff like that. I don't want my I like to go do that once in a while. I don't want to get replaced by AI when they can just fill my face in from 10 years ago or something like that. So I get that aspect of it, but in the resistance to change part of it, a movie like Sin City, or there's movies that they're using AI now, or they're using what do they call that when everything's created on like video and things like that. They're not flying Superman on ropes anymore. They design it with a computer. So how many people did they take out that were putting up hoist and things like that, and now it's made on a computer? This is outward facing. It's in your face because it's person. We replaced person. We replaced lead character. So you see it, everybody's up in arms, but it's been done so many times, so many ways. So that's where I want to start with resistance to change. I just want to open the conversation.
Well, to answer your question about like kind of CGI and the role that plays. Definitely films, the way that special effects are done has changed a lot over time, right? You look back to like the late 70s and early 80s, Star Wars was a groundbreaking film. Those special effects were mostly done. They weren't computer assisted graphics. It didn't exist at the time, and so they were done sort of practically or with in-camera special effects, as they're often called, where you're using a combination of miniatures and plates and painted backgrounds and all kinds of things to create an image that appears one way when it's played back, but in reality is a combination of different things to create a desired effect. You think back in the day, like kind of some of the first special effects were things like forced perspective, right? Where you would position one person closer to the camera than the other things. And so it'd make them seem bigger. But when you look at it in a two-dimensional plane, you can't tell that one thing is closer than the other, things like that. But I think AI and using computer generated imagery in films is fine. I think it makes sense to do in places where it's literally or physically impossible to use sort of practical effects or extras or things like that, right? So you can't have it's not practical to have an actor, flying through the sky at 10,000 feet, looking like they're Superman, right? Like that's not practical, right? So what you do, you put them in front of a screen, right? Either a blue screen, or now they're starting to use actual like LED walls, right? And you put them on a rig, right? And so you have the actor go through the motions and act like they're flying at 10,000 feet, and you put the background in behind them, right? makes perfect sense. Good use of CGI and potentially of AI computing to be able to generate the correct background at the right angle, et cetera, et cetera. So that's all fine. The other place where I think it's fine is like, look, you got a scene in a stadium, right? And you've got an event going on. Now, does it make sense, or is it even logistically feasible to fill that stadium with real people and pay them all as extras, right? I mean, think about the cost associated with that, right? Like, Dom, you know what an extra earns for a day, right? So say every person there is getting $500 to $700 for the day, right? And then there are added costs on top of that, logistics that go along with having all those extras. So say you're paying, 40,000 people an extra $500 for the day. Like that adds up really quick. And suddenly, economically, that's not a viable way to get that shot of that stadium crowd reacting to something, right? So, what do? You fill a part of the stadium, right? You film that part of the stadium and then you replicate those faces around the stadium to fill it in. I think that's a fine use of AI when it's the difference between not being able to pull something off because it is either logistically or economically unfeasible or impossible to do, right? Versus doing something because it's cheaper than paying real people to do the labor. I think that's where the line is for me. So like if the difference is between hiring, 100 extras to fill one section and then repeating those 100 extras, around, or hiring no extras and just using AI, I say hire 100 extras, right? Like that's where I land on it. You can hire 100 extras. You can't hire 10,000 extras, but you can hire 100, right? And you can use AI to sort of replicate those people around the stadium. So I think that's a fine use of it. But yeah, I mean, I think it's challenging, right? Like there's difficulty when it comes into it, and I am 100% not for replacing human labor completely with AI. And that's where the Tilly Norwood thing comes into it, right? Like this sort of like AI generated actor, right? Completely AI generated, somebody who does not exist in real life, is not based on a real person. It's just sort of a complete conceit of an AI generation program that I'm not good with. And also I don't think it'll land, right? Because it is clearly AI, right? I think if you watch it carefully, there are lots of subtle cues that tell you that actor and everyone else in like the sort of Tilly Norwood video that has been circulating around the internet, everything in that is AI generated. It has a disclaimer at the front and tells you that. But if you watch it, there are lots of subtle cues. Just the way their skin moves on their faces, right? Like is not how skin works. If you watch like the way their neck moves as they talk, like was one of the things that I noticed. There was like it was overly smooth, right? And you notice their skin, their faces, like they all have a bit of a mannequinish like smooth appearance. They don't have the sort of like natural, I don't know, weathering, I guess, that we all kind of go through as we age, I guess we'll say, right? So they don't have that. It's not well replicated. It feels very obvious to me that it's AI. And I think even if you're not looking at it looking for that, I think subtly those things will like make an impression and help you realize that it's not a real person, and kind of turns you off to it. So I don't think we're at a place where it's going to suddenly start replacing actors the way some people are fearing. But I also think that could happen in the future, or that there could be attempts to do that. And I think we need to be cautious about what we endorse and what we don't endorse, and how far we go in embracing new technology, especially something like AI image generation technology that can produce realish looking and realish sounding people to replace sort of actors and actresses in film. Right now it's a gimmick. I don't know that it's going to be much more than that anytime soon, but I think we need to be aware of it and ready for people trying to sort of push things in that direction.
Yeah. There's states right now that use like emergency broadcast systems that have AI like reporters telling them like, hey, the hurricane's coming and things like that. So or there's podcasts right now that are all AI generated and things like that. So uh, I think in a lot of ways it's already happened, and this is actors, but there's actors in different ways where we're like, oh, okay. Now all of a sudden, when it's the leading lady, we're like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah, I mean, I think like look, I think most of those things that you just like the AI podcasts and stuff, they're gimmicks, right? Like I don't think they're going to go anywhere. Like the number one podcast in the world is not going to be anytime soon, right? I don't want to say never. I hate to say never because like whatever, but I don't think an AI generated podcast will ever become the most or even rank highly in the most popular podcast, right? It may for a very short period of time when people like download it to check it out, but it's a gimmick. I don't think it's going to replace sort of human podcasting or human interact. I think people listen to long form podcasts for the interaction between people, right? Like they want to hear the conversation that happens between people, not an AI version of what a conversation might be like. You know what I mean? Like they want to actually hear the human connection that happens in long form conversation, and that just doesn't happen in podcast in AI generated content. And so I don't think it's ever going to be anything more than a gimmick in that particular space. And in terms of like the emergency broadcast notifications and stuff like that, like a lot of times that I remember hearing those or seeing those when I used to have cable television, right? Like every once in a while, emergency broadcast network thing, like once a month would like pop on and it would be like beep, 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 and it would tell you this is a test of the emergency. Yeah. Like that voice for a long time has been sort of just a computer voice, right? Like a computer generated voice. So like I have no issue with them using AI to have it sound more human, like that doesn't bother me at all.
I'm just saying there are actual times where they have like a virtual person doing it as well. So it's already taking some jobs. All right, hey,
Was
let's
that
get
a
to
job?
well, rather than hiring Tom or Julie or Debbie to go on live TV and tell you what the emergency whatever is, some now fictitious male that is created like this Tilly Norwood gives you on your TV or on your YouTube channel.
I mean, I so here's the thing is like in major networks, like in major broadcast areas, right? In major markets, there is somebody like sort of 24/7 like at a news desk or able to hop on the news desk, right? But for the majority of the country, that job doesn't exist. There is no sort of 24-hour news in like in a rural town in Nebraska, right? There's no 24-hour news anywhere near them, right? So for those areas, they would have to find somebody, get them out of bed, get them in front of a camera, and like that delay in bringing that information out, right? I think is costly or could be costly in an emergency situation. Minutes matter. So I think like that job doesn't really exist. It probably would have just been a static screen with a robot voice or somebody reading it. And now they're using AI to do it. So I would push back. I'm not sure that that's actually replacing a real human job. I don't think there is anybody that actually does that job.
All right, bring it on. Bring it on. Let's hear from the group here. We're talking Tilly Norwood. We're talking resistance to change, which is very similar with AI coming and things like that, or whatever the change is that you're resisting. That's here, and you're like, oh, it's not going to affect me. So, Julie Loken, we're coming to you. Then we'll hit J Dub, and then Jason. Anybody else want to come up or message on LinkedIn or wherever you see us streaming? Have at it. But Julie, weigh in on the subject. What do you got for us?
Hey, NTSGs. Honestly, I've never heard of Tilly Norwood until today, but I think it's a topic anyone can adapt to. And it's funny, I was listening to an AI generated podcast this weekend, and you can tell by inflections, but I found it still interesting. And the funny thing is, I think the danger comes in when they start replicating and cloning our voices, which is easy to do. And I want to find this episode because I've done an AI generated podcast, one with my voice, which It's kind of funny. Some people could tell, some people couldn't tell. So it's just how we navigate it. And then the art of deception, I think a lot of people aren't as savvy as us here on stage and could be really bamboozled by these AI generated stars and voices in some manner or the other. So that's where I see issues going forward. So thanks. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for being here, Jolie. Thanks for weighing in on that. My dad thinks Barron Trump can sing like a opera because he watches these things on YouTube. So, and I love to see people taking chains off of leopards and tigers. It's like a lady in a business suit taking chains off of a barbed wire off of a leopard or something like that. I'm like, wait a minute, this leopard might bite them. This lion might act. Then I realize it's AI. I like it in theory, so I know that. Tom, what say you on that? And then go to J Dub and Jason.
Yeah, I mean, look, AI deepfakes are definitely a problem, right? I mean, look, the just recently, within the last week, I mean, you talked about, your dad being convinced that Barron Trump can sing opera because of an AI deepfake video he saw on YouTube, right? I mean, just this week, the president actually shared an AI deepfake video of himself talking about a science fiction technology that doesn't even exist called med beds, which is a whole big, like, if you go down, and I only know this because of reporting on this, but like there's a QAnon conspiracy theory that the US government has technology for what they call med beds, which are basically like, I mean, it's something right out of like Star Trek, right? It's a bed that like heals you of any and all ailments, right? Like you lay down on the bed, it does a bunch of worrying and whatever, and it fixes all the things wrong with you. So there's a QAnon conspiracy that the US government has this technology, and then somebody put together an AI deepfake video where the president said he was going to release medbed technology and give everybody a medbed card so they could go get healthy. And it's obviously it's all complete fabrication and nonsense. It has no grounding in reality. It's not true at all. I guarantee you that there are people that believe it. So like, I think, to Julie's point, there is some danger in these sort of AI deepfake videos where they're replacing people or it's not just replacing labor, but actually creating content that makes someone appear to say something that they've never said. Right. That's a real problem. And I think there needs to be, and look, like, I think at the end of the day, the solution is to provide some guardrails, some regulation around how deep fakes can be used. Because like, it's all fun and games if you're like, want to prank one of your friends and make a video of them doing something silly or saying something silly or, farting the Star Spangled Banner or something ridiculous. Like that's fine. Right. But when you have somebody whose words or whose speech carries weight and influence, like the president putting forward a conspiracy theory that has no grounding in reality and people believing that it's real, that's a problem, right? That's something that's dangerous. And that's something that I think needs to be, that's what I think.
I think you nailed it, man. Let's go. Let's keep it going. Not the smartest guys in the room. We're here every Wednesday unless we're on summer hours. Okay, we got J Dub. J Dub, welcome to the conversation here. J Dub's Arts, it says. What say you, my friend? Where you want to weigh in on resistance to change or Tilly Norwood? What do you got for us?
I am an artist and I'm kind of leaning into the curve here because let's be real, AI is not going anywhere. I mean, we can all be resistant to it, but it's not going to go anywhere. It's only going to get bigger and stronger. And if we don't work with it in some way, shape, or form, it's going to take us out, right? So I actually used it to understand how computers work, and I used it to write a check to help kids connect their emotions to the way they feel. So, I mean, yes, all of the deep fakes that are going on with AI. I'm a hiring manager in retail. I've had 7 interviews this week that were not even actual people. So yes, the danger of AI is definitely there, and I'm hesitant to have things like.
Hey, Jay, explain to us what does that mean? Like they were AI interviews, or they just like how does that?
I mean that people are using AI generated resumes, but also using AI generated videos for their face during a video interview rather than coming in doing a remote interview.
Okay.
So you're using essentially a Snapchat filter to make yourself look different than who you actually are. We didn't have it in our workplace, but another business hired somebody on affirmative action only to find out that they were not an affirmative action hire because they used AI to alter their appearance so that they would appear to be falling under that demographic. So yeah, I definitely think that there's good and bad to AI, but in the professional world, it needs to be approached very, very cautiously because, like Tom said, the differences are there. You can see them if you have a keen eye, but most people are friggin' blind and they can't see those subtle differences in the skin tone. If you look at the corners where the dead space meets an AI's skin, it almost pixelates a little bit, like a brush effect in Photoshop. So people don't know what the hell they're looking at the time. And a lot of people are getting misinformed. And yeah, I definitely disagree with using it for emergency broadcast services. While it does provide an immediate response, sometimes the immediate response isn't what we need. It's more of an informed response. That's my part.
Hey, J-Dub, thanks for being here. I appreciate you now. That welcome back anytime, man. Come back anytime. I want to say on the Tilly Norwood video, I was watching one the other day and it was her drinking coffee. Her, it's weird. I'm watching her drinking coffee. The coffee cup, she's walking down the street, coffee cup has a lid on it with a straw. And then she takes a drink out of the cup, not using the straw. And she just puts her mouth on the side and takes a drink. Well, the coffee cup had a lid on it. And so I replied, like in the comments, I was like, I don't think that since it had a straw and a lid and now she's drinking out of the straw, that this is going to take off. Doesn't seem too Oscar worthy to me. But yeah, if you look up the video when you talk about those subtle changes, subtle little things on the edges and stuff, Jason, J Dub. J Dub. Is J Dub Jason, by the way? I see. Just, he's there. Okay.
No, J Dub is John, and my last name is long in Polish, so I
Michael.
shortened it to Dubs from a
Okay.
W.
Maybe I'll do that. Okay. Okay. Gotcha, man. Thank you. Well,
No problem.
okay. Us Polish people should.
To D-Dom or what?
Yeah. D Dom. Yeah. Something like that. Okay.
You gonna
Sorry.
can we call you Dom Dom?
Dom Dom. Yeah. That's the.
Oh wait, I love that. Dom, and oh, Dom, and
There you go.
All right,
Okay.
I like that idea less. I take it back.
Okay, somebody we like that always stops in. Jason, what say you on Tilly Norwood and people that are resistant to change? And anybody that wasn't here, we had an idea like in Christmas, we hand out lumps of coal, the things we don't like at the end of the year. We wanted to hand out something that isn't flattering to people that are resisting to change. If anybody has an idea, throw it out there for us. Go on, Jason.
Well, my only thing about changes is that you can't stop it. You know, I can't control anything that happens outside my head and my mind and my thoughts. So that's the first part. So it's easy to go with the flow, but I think that what we grow attached to, it's a sense of security. So maybe people who object change, and when you're talking about AI, in my opinion, many people I feel are stagnant in their growth mindset because they want to hold on to things that they can get used to. And AI changes the game because if you really think about it, it's an assistant and it's designed to be that way. As far as the video, the Tilly whatever, I thought it was pretty remarkable what I watched. But again, it is, and I've talked about this before, there is a high demand for ethical AI design and practical use. So there's many different jobs that can go along with AI. I just think that if you want to be a bean counter, so to speak, the hand kind, yeah, you're probably going to be not counting beans for very much longer. But if you want to design and go into the creative space and think about possibilities of imagination, travel, besides just clocking into a job 9 to 5, AI could be an incredible assistant. I think it's how you frame what you don't understand. And I think that's the biggest part of the conversation when it comes to AI change. I'm always one who's down for imagination and curiosity. So for me, I'm a thumbs up, but there needs to be an ethical hand on the design and use.
Go on, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's right, Jason. I agree. I mean, I think there has to be like, again, it's sort of like I mentioned earlier, like with guardrails, like there has to be some sort of, whether those guardrails are ethical or moral or legal, like there has to be, it has to operate within some kind of set of constraints that we sort of agree on as part of the social contract that are acceptable to a plurality of people, right? I mean, you can't. I think the problem is that you know, what might be good for a few is not good for many, right? And vice versa. So I think what you have to do is try to find sort of a middle ground where you are keeping the overall societal good in mind, while also not completely hamstringing other people's opportunity to sort of use new technology, you know, to their advantage and to build businesses, et cetera, et cetera. So it's, you know, there's a bit of a tightrope walk there, but I think you're right. I think there has to be some you know, ethical guidance, you know, bringing us forward. So yeah, so I agree with that take, Jason.
Yeah, we'll dig more into that in a little bit, but time for the time of the show where we do everybody's favorite segment. People love the hate, Tom's thumbs. So Jimmy says he's only here for Tom's thumbs. Yeah, our Tom's thumbs reels are doing good. So Tom's thumbs today, we're going to get real serious on a subject. We talk about pop culture. So Tom has to answer a question, thumbs up or thumbs down, based on something in pop culture. I want to talk about something that is around for about 9 months a year, and it's everywhere. And I want to know Tom's thoughts on it. What does Tom think about Spirit Halloween?
Oh, Spirit Halloween. God, I mean, I don't know. There's so many ways I could take this. So yeah, you're right. They're around for about 9 months every year. They sort of pop up in vacant stores or vacant storefronts in strip malls all across America, right? And they're around until I think just after Halloween is usually when they close up, and they're gone for a few months, and then they pop up again in the spring. Um, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it says something about the sort of the disposable nature of consumerism, particularly in the US, right? That Spirit Halloween exists and as a business model can be successful selling one set of product, Halloween decorations, really, and some costume stuff, but Halloween related things for a 1-day holiday, you know, and somehow that they can maintain a successful business model off of knowing that people will every year come back and spend money on new decorations, more of the same decorations, new costume pieces, all of that kind of stuff that they sell, right? And I think that's everything that they sell pretty much, right? I mean, I don't know. I'm not intimately familiar with Spirit Halloween. I don't know. I think I've been in one once, but I'm also not one of those kind of people that, like, you know, redecorates for every holiday. Like we decorate for Christmas. Like that's it. And that mostly consists of like putting up a tree, right? Like you know, that's the totality of our holiday decoration in our household. So not something we really get into. But I think it is sort of a commentary on the disposable nature of consumerism, particularly in the United States, that people buy things and spend lots of money, billions of dollars, I'm sure, every year on Halloween decorations that they know they're going to just put in the garbage, right? And not use again the next year. And I don't think that's a good thing, right? I don't think that kind of disposable consumerism is a good thing, generally speaking, because it encourages us to not place value on the things that we spend our money on, to spend money on things that are disposable, that we know we will dispose of in short order, right, that have a shelf life and are replaced every year. And that leads to all kinds of problems, right? Like not only economically for people who spend too much money on decorations that they use one time and then throw them away, right? But it also creates problems with waste, right? We already create too much waste in this country and broadly as a species, right? We create an extraordinary amount of waste every year. We hear about the problems, the environmental impacts of that production of waste and the volume of waste that we create. I mean, I'm sure everybody here or everybody listening has heard of the Great Garbage Patch in the Pacific Ocean, this giant patch of floating detritus that collects because of the ocean currents in one particular area in the South Pacific. And the size of that and the mass of, sort of disposable or single-use plastics in it, I think it's not a good thing. And I don't think it's a good thing that there is a company that can have a successful business model built off of that kind of disposable single-use consumerism. While I don't necessarily have an opposition to Spirit Halloween because they didn't create the problem, I think their success as a business model is endemic of a broader issue culturally that we have with single-use disposable consumerism, and that gets a thumbs down from me.
All right, so you turned Halloween, this beautiful thing, people getting candy, into single use. What was it? Single use consumer.
Single-use disposable consumerism. And I'm gonna just hold on. I'm gonna just be real clear here. I did not give a thumbs down to Halloween. I gave a thumbs down to the disposable single-use consumerism that stores like Spirit Halloween represent. I like Halloween. Got no problem with Halloween. I'm not giving Halloween a thumbs down, right? I'm giving the person that gives out pennies and or apples on Halloween a thumbs down. But I'm not giving Halloween a thumbs down. I'm giving that concept or that single-use disposable consumerism that Spirit Halloween represents a thumbs down.
Jimmy wants to know, what is the thumbs down? You can put in the comments, what's the thumbs up, thumbs down ratio? We should research that. We should ask ChatGPT, what's the ratio? J-Dub says he works at a Michael's and sees they're selling out for Christmas. Tom, I was thinking when you were talking, when you talked about the business model of these businesses that can pop up for a month or 2 months and make money, I'm in my mind thinking, I've said here before about like the flower business or something like that, thinking, I wonder what other models, like whether it's Christmas trees or fireworks shops, or I wonder what other businesses use that model, because the model works, because we see it with fireworks, we see it with now Halloween stores. I wonder what else, and not that I would want to get into, what was it, single use, go on.
We use disposable consumerism or consumer.
Yeah, you should hashtag that. Okay, hold on here. Let's see here.
And
Jewel,
to answer Julie's question, do I give out raisins for Halloween? Absolutely not. In fact, actually, I haven't given out anything for Halloween for years because we don't get any trick-or-treaters on our street because we live in a rural area. There's no streetlights. There's no kids in close proximity to us. So we don't get trick-or-treaters. So the answer is I don't give out anything, but if I did, it would be candy.
well,
Oh, okay. I wasn't expecting you to read it. I didn't think you read the chat.
we read the chat. Hey, Julie, so do you think that now Tom has a young daughter that's about to trick or treat? You think he's going to go to the mall and walk around and get candy from all the stores, or will he do like trunk or treat somewhere?
Like there has to be a downtown in his area where he can take his cutie, like in a little princess outfit. Well, I can't imagine him dressing her up in a princess, but like a cute little outfit or something.
Tom, you have a plan for that? Like, it is going to happen, and you can't just sit around on a road with nobody there. You got to take her somewhere.
Yeah, there is a neighborhood about a mile up the road from us where we could take her trick-or-treating and actually walk around and to a bunch of houses. There's also a ton of sort of trunk or treat events around our area because we live in a more rural area. There aren't a lot of sort of neighborhoods around us, and there's, the houses are more spread out. There's no streetlights. The roads are narrow. It's, it gets dark. And so it's not super safe for kids to be out trick-or-treating where we live, just because of traffic and things like that. So we definitely plan on taking her. In fact, actually last year when she was just an infant, my fire department that I'm a member of participates in an annual trunk or treat every year, and we took her to that. I was there volunteering. I was there for the whole thing. Becky brought her over for a little bit, and plan to continue doing that going forward. So it'll probably be sort of a combination of trunk or treat, or maybe she'll go, if she has a friend, if she gets a little bit older that lives in a neighborhood, she can go trick or treat with them. I mean, we're not like, I don't know. I don't know where this idea that we're like anti-holiday came from. Like I just talked about how
You,
we put up a Christmas tree.
this is Tom 2.0. Tom Dad is
Yeah, Tom
cool.
is softing up,
Yeah, he's
becoming a little
cool and
softy.
I've
fun.
never been anti-holiday. Like I don't know what you guys are talking about. Like I love
Oh my goodness.
Thanksgiving.
Put in the
Like
comments how many things Tom has said no to that had to do with
Baby shower. Wait,
that's
we should
baby showers are not
Christmas
holidays.
gifts,
They're
like
stupid
Christmas
parties that serve
gifts.
no purpose.
Yeah, Easter,
birthday
dying,
parties,
dying eggs. Listen, Tom,
dying eggs.
this is a reckoning.
We
None
should
of
ask
those are
Tom.
holidays. None of those are holidays. Those are all
Okay,
just
so you're answering your own question here.
Holiday
but
spirit.
none of those are
Holiday
like
spirit.
birthday parties are not holidays. I just had a birthday like 2 days ago.
I
Like
did ask Tom on his birthday. I said, "Was it a thumbs up or thumbs down?" And he replied. He replied that
all right,
that he
hold
does
on,
not give
hold on.
birthdays.
The thumbs up is what I very clearly said.
I agree.
You were hemming and hawing like you couldn't remember what I said. I said thumbs up. I was having a good day with hanging out.
I left that exchange feeling wholesome. So thank you. All right, not the smartest guys in the room. Tilly Norwood, people that are resistant to change. One person that's resistant to holidays. Okay, I I'm mad about something that I have to talk about here when it comes to resistance to change. So it's pop culture, resistance to change. I love the WNBA. I love the evolution of the WNBA. I love that more eyes are on it. I love that the game that is being played is getting more eyes. The sport is a good sport. Women's basketball play at the highest level. There's a purity to the game. I don't care if there's dunking or anything. There's a purity to the game. Beautiful thing. The WNBA stinks so bad at their consistency, their refereeing, their marketing, they are resistant to change. They feel that the game is in 1970, 1980. They are treating it like it's men's basketball in 1978, 1980. And it is uh, the management, the higher ups, whoever you want, the powers that be, are making it a bore. Let the game evolve. Quit with the resistance to change. Quit trying to make it men's basketball from 1982. It is not. It is a beautiful thing on its own. Let it go. Let it free. So that's my take on the WNBA that's resistant to change. I'm so angry about it, Tom, because it's great and they keep taking it back to 1978.
Yeah, I mean, I think like look, to your point, like let it be its own thing, right? I think part of the problem is you end up and you've probably ended up with people, former NBA execs, right? And former NBA leadership now trying to steer the boat at the WNBA, and they're looking at it going, well, that's those numbers and the statistics and the data lines up with kind of where we were in the late 70s and early 80s as an organization. And so that's what we're going to apply here. And it's like, well, that's a stupid idea because it's not the late 70s, early 80s anymore, right? Culture has changed. The way people consume sports has changed. The way people interact with sports has changed, right? The whole reason that the NBA or the WNBA is finding traction and success and gaining viewership and attention is because culture has shifted over the last 40 years, right? 45 plus years. So like, stop dragging your feet and trying to rewind and replay, an old tired strategy and embrace where you are and look at how you can do so moving forward. I think maybe the WNBA is a good candidate for the award we were talking about handing out earlier for resistance to change. My wife Becky had a great idea for it. I think it's a good sort of metaphor, and that is to give them the golden donkey, right? Donkeys are notoriously stubborn, right? And resistant. So, give them the Golden Donkey Award for being stubborn asses and not embracing the success that the WNBA is seeing and looking at ways to move forward with it and build on it instead of trying to march backwards in time and replicate what the NBA did in the 80s.
Well said. I mean, and as you put that, yeah, the game grew incrementally like this. But if I look at it from the outside, it grew from competition between Larry Bird and Magic Johnson that got eyes on it. Then it went to Michael Jordan. And if you're going to, it was these faces, and instead of the WNBA embracing these larger than life personalities, they're like, let's embrace tough defense and hard fouls. What? This is so lame. Okay, something that's not lame. Julie has a quiz here up at the top and says, what is Tom's favorite Halloween candy? And I was going to vote like, are you assuming that he likes a Halloween candy, Julie? I mean, I would have went like water and toast.
I left it open to him. I was just guessing. There wasn't enough space to do that stuff, but we'll find out, I guess.
Okay, Tom, that's it. Ask. J-Dub says everybody likes peanut butter. Okay, Tom, do you have a favorite Halloween candy?
All right. So I think honestly, because you don't get a lot of them, I think one of my favorites has always been the Butterfinger, right? Like I actually think I would prefer like a mini Butterfinger or like the personal size Butterfinger to like a full size Butterfinger, right? Which I think is like maybe a bit of an like counterintuitive take, but I think the chocolate to like crunchy peanut buttery inside, the ratio is better in the personal size Butterfinger than it is in the full size bar, right? I think the full size bar, like it's a little too little chocolate to filling ratio. I think the ratio is better in the smaller one. So like I always like those because you never really get a lot of them. It's like one of those candy bars that like doesn't pop up a lot. And so I really like those. I'm also like I'm one of those weird people that likes candy corn, right? Like I know not everybody does. It kind of is like a bit of a divisive candy. And I actually like candy corn. And actually, I like candy corn mixed with salted roasted peanuts. And if you eat them together, it tastes like a payday, which is like, caramel peanut bar. So I like that too.
Actually, sounds really good. To be
Yeah. I
honest.
mean, if you like paydays, I'm telling you, like candy corn and salted roasted peanuts, like the sweet, the savory, the peanut, the sort of honey notes or flavor in a candy corn, it works.
Payday's like a health bar. Nobody would eat that.
Well,
Okay, let's
payday's
hear
not a
from.
health bar. It's a
It
candy.
looks a little weird.
Caramel studded with peanuts,
It's
right? Like,
just
I mean, come
nuts.
on.
Okay, come on. I want from the room. Okay, Julie, favorite Halloween candy. What do you got?
I would say I probably put my favorite, the Almond Joy and Reese's Peanut Butter Cups at the top, and Snickers. So there you go.
Okay, those are almond joy. I respect that. Jason, what do you got?
I'd have to say sweet tarts. I don't know why, but it
Oh,
seems if I don't eat candy anymore, but that was always the one that I liked the most.
switching it up. I'm a candy like that person over chocolate, but I was thinking chocolate here. J Dub, what do you got for us?
Oh, I'm a peanut butter junkie all day long, but if I can't mainline my Reese's, I will go to an alternative peanut butter substitute. I mean, Butterfingers aren't bad, but I'm more of a soft peanut butter. I like creamy, not crunchy.
He said Tom was
Hold
a
on.
weirdo when Tom said Butterfinger.
I
Yeah,
was
I know.
definitely talking smack down in the comments on Tom.
Yeah. No, he 100% was. For the record, I like Coke. Pepsi's all right. I don't remember the last time I had RC Cola, so honestly, like I can't even weigh in. But I if I buy a soda, I generally tend to buy Coke. But the other thing I was going to say, J Dubs, is if you love the peanut butter cup, I think also again talking ratio, I think the minis are a better ratio, chocolate peanut butter ratio, in the peanut butter cups for Reese's. But also, have you had the Trader Joe's dark chocolate peanut butter cups? Right, or I think Justin's makes them also, the dark chocolate ones.
I have not tried the other one.
Yeah, the Trader Joe's ones, if you've got a Trader Joe's around you, the Trader Joe's ones are minis. So they're like kind of that ideal ratio, and it's dark chocolate as opposed to milk chocolate. I think it's better because it's sweetened peanut butter, right? So it's kind of sweet anyway. And so I think the bitterness of the dark chocolate, like it's kind of better balanced all around.
Tom, Justin's is a friend of the show. How dare you? Justin's is the best ever, best almond butter. Andy's a nice guy, so I disagree with what you're saying there.
Hey,
Okay,
I gave him a shout out. I said he makes them. They're good.
okay, they're great.
I just think the
Okay,
ratio is better with the mini, and he doesn't make the minis. I don't like. I don't know what to tell you.
okay, we could. That's something we should talk to him about. Making the minis.
Oh,
Okay, what you
Thins
got?
are really good too. If you
Okay.
haven't had the Reese's Thins, they have a good chocolate to peanut butter ratio too.
So do those little Reese's cups that like when you get like you go to the movie and there's like 50 Reese's cups in a little bag. They're like super tiny. Those are good.
My favorite overall candy, the one that I eat the most, is peanut M&Ms.
Debbie gave a shout out to M&M's too. Okay, so here's what we got here. We got a show and tell. We got to wrap up. I wanted to comment on ethical AI. I said I was going to get back to that, but I took me an hour. So just Jason, that was a good point. I heard somebody say on the Tilly Norwood thing that yeah, her face is made up of 100 different people. Her voice is made up of 100 different people. So of course she can do this and that, but all those people, if we're using ethical AI, should be getting us a piece of the cut. And if they're getting some of the money off of things that she later does or the next AI character, then more power to them. That's my thoughts on that. Tom?
I'm nothing to add. I think you got it. I think you nailed
Oh
it.
yeah, give me 1% in perpetuity, and you can take my face and use it wherever you want. Okay, Tom. It's now we're moving along, so I got to move this show along here. It's
Well,
time.
and I think, Dom, I think the big problem there is that like the fear or the concern is that there isn't going to be any sort of residual payment for the use, right? And that's really the big concern. The big concern is that people's images, likenesses are going to be stolen in some way, shape, or form, even if they're not directly replicated, even if they're used as some sort of weird amalgamation like the Tilly Norwood thing, that people's, likenesses, mannerisms, facial features, voices, etc., are going to be used and taken, and they're not going to be compensated for it. And I think that's unethical, right? I think that's where you run into. At the end of the day, too, like if you look at how these AI models operate, how they educate and train the models, the content that they use, that basically what these models do is they take something, they rearrange it, right? Like think of it as a Rubik's Cube, right? They basically take in a bunch of information that makes up the colors on all sides of the Rubik's Cube. They mix it up so it's different from when it was when they got it, and then they spit it back out and they're saying, oh, it's brand new. And it's like, no, you're using other people's work to create something that is really just a new or a re-amalgamation of that same work. You're not creating anything new. It's not inspiration for what you're doing. You're literally just rearranging it and spitting it back out. So there's some big ethical questions around these AI models anyway. But I think, to your point, there has to be a line in the sand where you can't just take people's, likenesses and replicate them without compensating those individuals for that. So anyway, with all that said, I'm looking at the clock and I think it's time for show and tell. So I'm curious to see what you're going to show and tell us about this week.
I almost showed it too quickly there. It came from the corner. So next week is a big event, and next Saturday, big event in my life. Happens every year, usually for about the last 15 years. It is called the 7-Iron Challenge. Jimmy participates. He's been in for about 10 years. We play golf, and we only use one club. We only drink 7-ounce beers. Every day he does a shot on hole 7. And so you can't take higher than a 7 on a hole. And we have a good old time. So here is my 7-iron. Sometimes I lose them, if things get out of whack. So this is my 7 that I will be using next Saturday when maybe I'll get my first championship in 15 years. There's a trophy. Everything has to do with 7s. And that is now my uncle, he's a golf pro. He made me another 7 that has a different slope on it, but that would be cheating, so I can't take it, but I do have it upstairs. But this is my 7 that I will be using, Tom, to bring home my first championship next weekend in the 7-Iron Challenge. What say you?
All right. So first of all, that sounds like fun. It sounds like I would, if I was local, I would definitely be signing up to come do that with you. The other question I have is, you said 7-ounce beers. Are you like pouring out 7 ounces of beer into a cup? Like, where are you getting 7-ounce beers from? Is that a thing in
Oh,
Pennsylvania?
yes, they're called pony bottles, and so you have to go around to special places to find cases and beers. Like Corona sells a 7 ounce, Rolling Rock. There's only certain beers that sell 7 ounce beers. So you have to find the pony bottle. So you got to go from brewery to brewery. Everybody brings a case usually. We have a golf cart that carries these beers around. If you if you complain about the weather, you have to do a shot. It's called a penalty shot. There's all these other things to make people drink on one of the holes. Everybody tees off on at one time. That's the 7 iron challenge. This is my 7 iron. But yes, you got to go find yourself 7 ounce beers. You can drink them in 1 or 2 sips.
I feel like I've seen them, but I didn't know that they were 7 ounces. Like, I didn't know that was the size. I've definitely seen those small beers, but I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know it was a 7 ounce size. That's such a weird size for a beverage. Like, it's not, it doesn't like, does it equate to anything in particular? Like in terms of like volume? Like, how did they come up with that number? Do you have any idea?
No, but it reminds me of when you were talking about waste earlier, because probably too many bottles are used to make 7 ounce bottles. In the case that the 7 ounce bottles go in, it's just a whole big to do to do about a really small drink. So I should have showed you a 7 ounce bottle.
Yeah, I mean yeah, you'll have to bring one out next week after the event when you've got some empties kicking around. But yeah, that's such a weird size for a beverage. I don't know of any beverage that comes in that size other than that.
Jolanta wants to add something. Let's see what Jolanta wants to add. If it's a Jolanta quick, if it's a favorite candy or something, or you drink 7 ounce beers, go on. And then we're going to the wrap up. What do you got, Jolanta? How you been?
It's been a hot minute, you guys. How are you all doing? I miss you all. I miss you all.
Yeah, we miss you. I see your profile picture. You look fancy there. So
Oh,
what do you
thank you.
got for us today?
Well, I would say my favorite Halloween candy is definitely Snickers all the way. We like to get the mixed up candies in the little, you know what I'm talking about, right? The big bag of different candies that come
Variety
together.
bags.
Yeah, the variety. That's it, Julie. Hello, good morning. Yes, the variety bags. I love the variety bags. Those are my favorite. I try not to buy too many of those because then I eat all of it later. So Snickers is my favorite candy for Halloween.
All right, we accept your vote. Your vote goes on record, and so now at that we let me I'll prepare Tom for what he's got to figure out. He's got to figure out the golden donkey that's going to the WNBA and people that refuse change. You've got to talk about favorite candies. You got to talk about your thoughts on Halloween and Spirit Halloween, and about 10 more things. So figure that all out, Tom. What do you got for us?
I mean, I don't really think I have to at this point, Dom, because I think you just did. You just went through and you laundry listed all the things we talked about. And yeah, I mean, look, when it comes down to it, I think I'll just circle back to what we started the conversation with, right? We started the conversation talking about resistance to change. And I'll just give a quick little thought in that area. Here's the thing that always comes to mind when I think of resistance to change. We are excited about change when we're young because everything is new to us. And I think as we get older, as we continue to see the world change, there's two things that happen. One, it creates situations where we're less comfortable because we're less familiar with things because they are new to us at a later stage in life. And two, it reminds us that we're getting older, and people don't like being reminded that they're getting older, right? Because 1 year older is 1 year less that we have to live, right? So like, it reminds all of us of our own mortality. And I think people get really resistant to change because of that. I just turned 47, and I'm finding that I am no more resistant to change than I was when I was younger. If anything, I am excited about the future because there are new and great and exciting things happening all the time. Yes, we have to be cautious. Yes, we have to be careful about how AI is used, how people are taken advantage of, what the future looks like, disposable single-use consumerism. All of these things are concerns, but they are not reasons to resist change. So while you may be concerned about change, you may be hesitant to accept change or even resistant to it, I would encourage you to always be looking forward to the new, exciting, amazing opportunities and experiences that change brings with it, rather than resistant to them, because if you're resistant to it, you will miss out on the future. And that's not a good place to be. That's all I've got for this week. Thank you guys all for being here. I appreciate you. Even if you're giving me grief in the comments and calling me a spokesperson for RC Cola, or accusing me of handing out raisins on Halloween, it's all good. I've got very thick skin. I'm here for it. I love it and appreciate it. I appreciate all of you guys. Thanks for being a part of this community. We love you. For Dom, I'm Tom. We are not the smartest guys in the room. And until next week, have a great rest of your week. Have a great weekend. We love you. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.